Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, we'll see Miss Ito's life in 2016. If you haven't checked my previous videos, please check them first. Miss Ito met Mr. Amark in November 2015, went to Singapore in December, and then to London with him after returning to Japan. Although she flew to Thailand in October to make a documentary about Rohingya refugees and told her journalist friend that she would visit Yangon in November or December, she not only didn't go to Yangon as she had promised but never mentioned Rohingya refugees on her social network again. I don't know exactly when they traveled to London, but it was probably from late December to early January. On Mr. Amark's public profile page on the private lodging site, which you can jump to from Miss Ito's page, a comment on their January trip was posted as Nick and his girlfriend Shiori. On February 23rd to 28th, Miss Ito covered Yubari International Film Festival with Reuters co-worker Megumi. In March 2016, Mr. Amark visited Japan again and filmed a video for Booking.com in Tsukiji. Miss Ito, of course, joined the production. In April, right after Mr. Amark went back to England, Miss Ito traveled to Ethiopia with Mr. Kuniaki Sato of Coco Motors Inc. How do I know? The tour guide in Addis Ababa wrote a comment on the photo Miss Ito shared on Facebook saying, "Thank you very much for your visit in my country. The best part of my job is meeting awesome people. Shiori Ito, Kuniaki Sato." Kuniaki Sato is a venture entrepreneur who finished his master's degree in the Shibaura Institute of Technology and launched in 2013 Coco Motors, a company that develops and sells portable transporters, Walk Car. I don't know exactly when Miss Ito and Mr. Sato met each other, but in October 2016, Miss Ito tweeted, "I got on this tiny miracle car last year with Reuters video camera." So I think they probably met when Walk Car was introduced in a Reuters video in August 2015. I don't know what the purpose of the trip to Ethiopia was or why they went by themselves. But I don't think it was for Walk Car, so Mr. Sato likely accompanied her for her purpose. I wonder if it didn't bother Mr. Amark that his girlfriend traveled abroad alone with another man. Mr. Amark not only liked Miss Ito's posts from Ethiopia both on Facebook and Instagram, but he also liked the comment of the local tour guide. On April 18th, she asked on Twitter for an interview with Mr. Yuki Yasuhiro, who wrote a book on lonely death. Miss Ito started to prepare for the shooting of Lonely Death when she was still in Addis Ababa. The producer of the Lonely Death documentary is Nicholas Amark. I wonder if Mr. Amark gave a green light for the filming of Lonely Death when she was with Mr. Sato in Addis Ababa. On the profile page of Miss Ito of the pre-mentioned private lodging site, it can be confirmed that Mr. Amark made a reservation in Madrid, Spain in May for two. Although Miss Ito has not disclosed when her birthday is, she recently posted on Facebook that it's in May. Maybe Mr. Amark planned a trip to Spain to celebrate her birthday? In addition, a photo of a trip to Sicily with Miss Ito was posted on Mr. Amark's Instagram later. It's highly possible that they traveled to Italy too when they went to Spain. On May 30th, Mr. Yamaguchi resigned TBS. On June 9th, he published a book titled Prime Minister, a biography of Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. From around this time, he started contributing articles and appearing in many media as a freelance journalist specialized in politics. On July 4th, Miss Ito posted a photo taken in Cuba on her Instagram. Mr. Amark also posted a photo taken in Cuba as TBT in December. Miss Ito says in a book that she met with the prosecutor in charge, Mr. K, for the second time in mid-July. Mr. K said, "I think Mr. Yamaguchi is really bad. He may have done it to other women. I can never forgive him. But there is no evidence. It's difficult. It's terrible that the predecessor prosecutor told you, the victim, we would arrest him, but then it got suspended. It's something that should never happen. We're really sorry." On July 22nd, Tokyo District Public Prosecutor dropped charges of Mr. Yamaguchi's quasi-rape case for insufficient evidence. She says in the book, "The result made me feel my own deep helplessness." Let's take a look at Miss Ito's actions after she felt that deep helplessness. On the same day, Mr. Amark came to Japan again and posted a photo from Sangenjaya on Instagram. On July 24th, they started filming Lonely Death documentary. Then, on August 21st, they flew to Peru and filmed a documentary, Racing in Cocaine Valley. It seems that they enjoyed not only filming, but also sightseeing such as Machu Picchu. In her book, she says that she didn't appeal to a committee for the Inquest of Prosecution immediately because she put a lid on this fact for a while and she didn't want to think about it anymore. Looking at the series of photos on social media, you can see that Mr. Allmark came to Japan on the day of the non-indictment decision. Then they immediately started filming Lonely Death, and when that was over, she was busy filming documentary and sightseeing in Peru. However, none of these are written in the book. At the end of September, they came back to Japan. It seemed from the photos posted on social media, Mr. Allmark enjoyed sightseeing in Japan while the editing of Lonely Death was in progress. Ms. Ito, on the other hand, says in the book that she saw the photos of Carrie Lee Goodwin at the World Press Photo in the Tokyo Metropolitan Museum of Photography. It made her decide to request a committee for the Inquest of Prosecution in order to raise her voice and not to be silent. In fact, since October 2016, she had been busy promoting the walk car developed by Mr. Kuniaki Sato to foreign media. On October 13th, Coco Motors announced that it will start taking pre-orders for a walk car from October 21st, 2016. Ms. Ito tweeted about walk car on the same day, October 13th. This French article published on October 13th says, "For further information, Shiori Ito, Media Relations Department, Coco Motors Inc." So it is certain that Ms. Ito was the official public relations person of Coco Motors at that time. On October 28th, she went to a Halloween costume party with friends in Tokyo. On November 11th, Ms. Ito, Mr. Kuniaki Sato, and Mr. Ryo Maeda of Coco Motors appeared on the popular Spanish program called El Hormiguero, which you can see it on YouTube. I added English subtitles as much as I can. Let's watch a little.
Maravilloso.
Son los creadores que vienen de Tokio.
¿Quieres preguntarles algo?
Sí, se lo voy a preguntar en japonés si no te importa.
¿Hablas japonés?
Sí.
Claro, si por eso en Japón hay tanta gente que el apellido acaba en moto. Sakamoto, Yamamoto.
Yamamoto, sí.
¿Doyate uskut tan desu ka?
はい、じゃあお答えしましょう。Well...
Le he preguntado...
No quiero que digas lo que le has preguntado. Quiero que te digas lo que te ha respondido.
Yo le he dicho, ¿me puedes explicar cómo se os ocurrió? Y me dice, ahora mismo te lo explico enseguida.
Ah, muy bien. Muy bien.
Nosotros...
Sí.
¿Lo vas a hacer en español?
Sí.
Habla español.
Nosotros vivimos en Tokio, usamos mucho el transporte público. Pero caminando mucho tanto también, ¿sí?
Sí.
Así que...
Pensamos...
Aporto lo que puedo.
Pensamos, ¿por qué no hacer un coche que
pueda ir
llevar en la mochila?
Ajá,
sí,
llevar en la mochila.
Sí.
Llevar en la mochila.
Claro que sí.
Oye, no solo tienen mucho talento, sino que tienen mucho valor.
Muy bien.
Porque ella, japonés e inglés, lo que tú quieras, pero el español ha dicho, lo intento. Hace un momento, te lo juro.
¿Sí?
Te lo juro. Ha dicho
impresionante.
en el ensayo a las 7 de la tarde por ahí, dice, lo intento. Y ahí la tienes hablando español.
No, claro que
Sí.
¿Sabes japonés?
No sé japonés. Sé cómo cortan el jamón en Japón.
¿Cómo?
A taquito.
¡Hola, ole! ¡Mírala! ¡Se pone a bailar!
I also studied Spanish for about a year in the past, but Ms. Ito's Spanish level is, to be frank, beginner level. In a book she wrote, I also mastered Spanish, and in the resume she wrote in 2015, she also said Spanish, daily conversation level. However, in this program, she's speaking a few sentences she memorized before the show and not so perfectly, or suddenly starts dancing without understanding the conversation. You can see her Spanish is clearly not daily conversation level. She also wrote in her resume, English, native level.
I can explain what happened to me. So think me as a house. And the base is sex. Everyone have sex. Everyone have different gender. This is my base. And when my base have been violated, the house started to tremble. The day after the incident, I didn't know how to do the daily routine. I didn't know how to make coffee anymore. I didn't know which drawer I had my makeup. I could just sit down in the house all day doing nothing. I forgot everything. I was empty house.
On November 13th, Mr. Allmark posted a photo on Instagram of him walking a French bulldog of Miss Ito's family, probably her mother's, with Miss Ito. But she was in Europe with Mr. Sato on November 13th, so this photo must have been taken before she had left Japan. After Spain, she also appeared in a British BBC video on November 18th. This time, Mr. Sato, who is the inventor, answered the interviewer, and Miss Ito appeared only a little in the video. While Miss Ito was working in Europe to promote Woke Car, Mr. Allmark stayed in Tokyo, completed editing the Lonely Death documentary with Mr. Yusuke Hayamizu on November 24th. Mr. Hayamizu posted a photo on his Facebook that the two had a wrap-up dinner and celebrate. After that, Mr. Allmark returned to England. He posted a photo on Instagram of goodbye lunch with a friend at Roppongi Hills on November 28th. But Miss Ito wasn't there. On December 30th, Miss Ito appeared on her friend's Instagram skiing with friends in Nagano. On the same day, she posted her thoughts of 2016 on Facebook. Thank you 2016, you were full of surprises and I loved it. So happy to see you this beautiful in the end of the year. Following 2015, again it was a year of flying around. The places I could find were starting from London, Yubari in Hokkaido, Ethiopia, Madrid, Sicily, Cuba, Peru, Madrid again, London, and Nagano. She went to Yubari with a female colleague and to Nagano with her friends. But the rest she went with either her then boyfriend Mr. Allmark or Mr. Sato, whose relationship unknown but is the CEO of the company that Miss Ito was working as public relations for at that time. To me, Miss Ito, who was vigorously traveling around the world, didn't seem like a sexual abuse victim suffering from PTSD. I see a woman who was ambitious and had a strong desire for success. She luckily met a documentary director who was 10 or more years older. He took her here and there overseas and gave her job opportunities. At the same time, she got to know a promising venture entrepreneur, went on a trip for 2, worked as a public relations person, and tried so hard to sell the product both in and out of Japan. Miss Ito writes in an article that came out in 2019. When I asked the police investigator that I wanted to report the damage of quasi-rape, I heard, "You can no longer work in the Japanese media. Your efforts so far may be in vain." That was what I was afraid of. I thought, it should be fine if I work for overseas media. How can a person of Japanese nationality work in overseas media? I had no idea, but I desperately searched for a job with overseas media and thought of various projects. One of the themes that got approved was Lonely Death. This sounds as if she brought her project to foreign media and got approved, and that's how the Lonely Death documentary was made. Miss Ito, who had no academic background or career as a documentary director, cannot suddenly become a director just because her project passed. It's because the guest via a private lodging website was coincidentally a documentary director. He fell in love with her, later had a relationship with her, and filmed The Lonely Death with her using his connection and his support. Not mentioning it is not just an exaggeration of ability, but it's almost falsifying her career. Just like she says in a book, I also mastered Spanish. Also, the interview article of Miss Ito published in 2018 says, Lonely Death, which she directed, was aired on Singapore's Channel News Asia in March 2017. She said the production took almost the whole year of 2016. However, 2016 was also a year of a series of hardships for Miss Shiori. Once again, she began 2016 in London, then Ethiopia, Spain, Italy, Cuba, and Japan filming her first directed documentary Lonely Death, then Peru for filming another documentary, sightseeing Machu Picchu, return to Japan and Halloween parties, Spain and England, then skiing. She's constantly flying around. Looking at this time series, how many people can say that 2016 was a series of hardships for Miss Ito? Even she said herself, "Thank you 2016, you were full of surprises and I loved it." Walk car of Coco Motors, where Miss Ito worked as a public relations person, suddenly became quiet without any news of progress after November 2016 when Mr. Sato appeared in the BBC video together with Miss Ito. They even postponed the shipment in 2017. On Twitter, people were asking like, "What happened to Coco Motors? I think they'd better issue a message." Miss Ito was deeply involved with Coco Motors at one point, but after she went public as a rape victim, she has not even mentioned the name of Walk Car in a book or in an interview. Considering that the relationship between Miss Ito and Coco Motors could not be confirmed after November 2016, and the Walk Car's media exposure sharply declined from the same period, I guess it was Miss Ito who took the lead in advertising activities. Mr. Sato came up with the idea of Walk Car in 2011, founded Coco Motors in 2013. Although the shipment was postponed for more than 2 years, they received a loan of 500 million yen from Nisei Capital in May 2018, and just recently, they started the advanced sales of Walk Car in Japan, and soon they'll announce the global product launch. I would like to personally support Mr. Sato. In this modern world where everything has to be quick and instant, even though it's superficial, it mustn't have been easy to take time for the repeated research and improvement of the product when people who gathered for the fame slowly started fading away. At the same time, I don't trust people who appeal to the world out loud and advertise, but in a short time just quit. Walk Car, Japanese tattoo project, and Rohingya refugees. I guess she wasn't really interested in them. She just needed a theme to sell to foreign media. In the next video, we will see Miss Ito in 2017 when she finally holds the interview in chronological order.